Have you ever wondered how a single decision, made years ago in some quiet front office meeting, can still echo across the league and change the DNA of teams decades later? What if a twist of fate that denied a superstar his chance in one jersey suddenly opened the door for that same player to walk into Chase Center now, in the twilight of his career, with the fire still burning to finally taste the finals? And what if that player wasn't just any veteran, but one whose name has been etched into NBA scoring history, whose style could still cause matchup nightmares if dropped into the Warriors' motion offense tomorrow? Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report. Smash that like button, subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report, and ring the bell so you never miss a moment of the action. Today we're stepping into one of the most unexpected, tantalizing rumors swirling around Dub Nation. And while I'm not about to give you the full twist just yet, trust me when I say it's the kind of storyline that makes you rethink how the Warriors might approach this crucial stretch of Steph Curry's prime. The whispers begin with a confession, not from some anonymous source, but from Carmelo Anthony himself. On Dwayne Wade's show, Melo opened up about how, back in 2011, his path almost led him to the Los Angeles Lakers. The deal was reportedly done. Melo and Nen for Lamar Odom and Andrew Bynum. It was set, ink nearly dry, until the Lakers pulled the plug at the last second. Instead, he got shipped east, ending up with the Knicks in a deal that wasn't even part of the original plan. The ripple effect? A whole alternate NBA history loss, one where Carmelo and Kobe Bryant could have terrorized defenses, possibly, adding another banner to Staples Center's rafters. And now, years later, as the Warriors search for that last injection of playoff-tested scoring to balance Curry's gravity, Klay's shooting, and Draymond's orchestration, the thought of Carmelo Anthony in blue and gold doesn't feel as far-fetched as it once might have. Could this mean the Warriors are willing to dip into the veteran free agent market for an unconventional piece? Is it possible that, even with his 2022 retirement announcement, the hunger to finally step onto the final stage could draw Melo back into the fire, and that Golden State could be the perfect landing spot? Fans are wondering if this could be the beginning of one last ride for a player who's been defined as much by what he hasn't done as what he has. Let's not forget, Golden State is in a precarious spot. The core is still elite when healthy, but the West has never been deeper. Denver's Jokic-led offense is a puzzle. OKC is surging with youth and length. And even the Lakers, ironic, considering Melo's almost history there, are trying to retool. Adding Carmelo wouldn't be about asking him to be 2013 Melo, the guy who dropped 28 a night for the Knicks. It would be about leveraging his still lethal mid-range, his ability to post up smaller defenders, and his knack for hitting shots when the offense bogs down, a skill you can't teach, and one the Warriors could use in playoff crunch time when the motion offense sometimes stalls. Some insiders believe that, despite his age, Melo's conditioning and basketball IQ make him a low-risk situational weapon. Imagine a second unit where Chris Paul slows the tempo, orchestrates the half-court, and Melo becomes the go-to scoring option against bench lineups. It's not about heavy minutes, it's about impact minutes. And in a system that values spacing, ball movement, and quick decision-making, Melo's catch-and-shoot ability, which quietly hovered around 38% from deep in his last full season, could slot and seamlessly dot a course. There's the question of chemistry. Would bringing in a veteran with Melo's legacy disrupt the Warriors' locker room dynamic or bolster it with another seasoned voice? Draymond Green has never shied away from holding anyone accountable, and Steph has the gravitas to integrate almost anyone into the culture. And while Melo has been criticized in the past for ball dominance, his late career stints in Portland and LA showed a willingness to adapt, take reduced roles, and still deliver. Could this be the Warriors' version of adding a Robert Horry type figure, someone who may not be the star anymore, but knows exactly how to hit the shot that buries an opponent in May? The fan base is split. Some are salivating at the idea of Melo finally chasing a ring alongside Curry, believing it would be a redemption arc too poetic to pass up. Others worry it's nostalgia clouding judgment, arguing the Warriors need more defense and athleticism, not another aging scorer. But here's the thing, in a playoff series, when rotations shrink and every possession is magnified, having one more player who can get a bucket on demand isn't just a luxury. It's survival. And maybe, just maybe, Melo sees what we all see, that Golden State, even with its flaws, still has the championship DNA he's been searching for his entire career. That this could be his moment to rewrite the ending, not as the star who never made the finals, but as the veteran who helped the Warriors push through one more time. But what do you think about all of this? Personally, as a Warriors supporter, I believe the idea of Carmelo Anthony in our jersey, even now, is the kind of gamble that could pay off in ways that stats and scouting reports can't fully capture. I can't wait to read your thoughts in the comments below. If you're as hyped as I am for Warriors News Fan Report, smash that like button, subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of the drama in blue and gold. Because if this front office actually pulls the trigger on a move that somehow links Steph Curry with Luka Doncic, we're not just talking about a headline. We're talking about the kind of shift that blows open the Western Conference landscape and forces every contender to rewrite their playoff playbook. Think about it. Steph, the most dangerous off-ball mover in basketball history, paired with Luka, the ultimate on-ball orchestrator who just averaged 33.9 points, 9.8 assists, and 9.2 rebounds last season. Could this mean we're staring at the birth of the most lethal backcourt combination the NBA has ever seen? Is it possible that every defensive scheme we've seen against Golden State for the past decade suddenly becomes obsolete the moment these two share the floor? The ripple effect on our roster would be immediate and impossible to ignore. Jonathan Kuminga, fresh off averaging 18.2 points on 53% shooting in extended minutes, would suddenly find his role shifting from a primary scoring option with the second unit to a hyper-athletic finisher, thriving off Luka's skip passes and Steph's gravity. Moses Moody's minutes, they become more specialized. He'd be the floor spacer and secondary defender, tasked with covering the holes created when both stars attack. Brandon Podziemski, who already plays with a veteran's poise, could become the connector in small ball lineups, cutting at the right time, keeping the ball moving when Luka bends the defense. And Bronny James, if he's in this equation, would have a rookie year unlike any other, learning under two of the smartest offensive minds in the game while earning his keep on defense. But the Draymond factor is the wild card here. Without him, the Warriors lose the heartbeat of their defensive communication and their most creative playmaking from the front court. With him, Luka's size and scoring allowed Draymond to pick apart defenses without the constant pressure to score, while his defensive IQ covers for Luka's weaknesses. Some insiders believe that if Draymond stays healthy and engaged, this trio could rival the original 2015 core in terms of impact, but in a completely different style. The league would not take this quietly. The Nuggets, already a matchup nightmare, would be forced to decide whether to guard Steph or Luka with their best perimeter stopper, knowing full well that either choice leaves the other free to dissect them. The Thunder's youth and length might give them a fighting chance in transition, but could they keep up in a 7-game series when every possession becomes a surgical half-court execution? The Clippers, even with Kawhi and PG healthy, would have to throw constant doubles and hope their offense can keep pace. And in the playoffs, that's a dangerous bet. Statistically, Luka has cooked the Warriors before. In his last 10 games against Golden State, he's averaged 31.4 points, 8.6 rebounds, and 8.1 assists, shooting over 48% from the field and 37% from three. Now flip that. Imagine those numbers benefiting us instead of burning us. Add Steph's career playoff average of 26.8 points on 40.1% from deep, and you're talking about nearly 60 combined points a night from two players who can also generate 15 assists between them. Could this be the antidote to the Warriors' offensive droughts that have haunted them in recent postseasons? Social media would melt down. Shams would drop the bomb with a simple breaking. Luka Doncic traded to Golden State, and Warrior would follow up with a detailed package. Iguodala might tweet something cryptic like, "Some things you can't double," while Kevin Durant would probably fire off a subtweet about stacked decks. Fans would flood timelines with mock lineups, debating whether this would be a modern Showtime or an unsustainable ego clash. Even skeptics would have to admit the basketball IQ between Steph and Luka could be a cheat code. Inside Chase Center, the atmosphere wouldn't just shift overnight. It would erupt into something entirely new, something almost electric you could feel in your chest the moment you walked through the doors. Practices would no longer feel like routine drills. They become daily laboratories of basketball innovation, war rooms where Kerr, his staff, and two of the greatest offensive minds of this generation would craft plays the league has never seen before. Imagine the scene: Steph running Luka off double stagger screens set by Draymond and Looney. Defenders chasing in panic, only for Luka to pivot mid-drive, draw two defenders, and fire a one-handed cross-court laser to Steph, spotting up in the weak side corner. Or picture Luka establishing deep post position on a switch against a smaller guard, knowing full well that Steph is orbiting around him like a gravitational force, ready to punish any help defender with a lightning-quick release. 3. In these sets, there will be no first option. Both of them would be the initiator, the finisher, and the decoy all at once. It wouldn't just be about highlight plays. It would be about layers. Luka controlling the pace, slowing the game to pick apart mismatches in one possession, then flipping the tempo in the very next as Steph sprints into transition, pulling the defense apart at the seams. There would be lineups designed for chaos, with Kuminga cutting baseline, Moody parked in the corner, and Draymond orchestrating from the top of the key, creating a blur of motion that keeps defenders guessing until the shot is already in the air. And in crunch time, the Warriors could roll out possessions that start with Luka operating out of the high post, Steph curling around him for a handoff three, only for Luka to fake the handoff entirely and take his man straight to the rim. It's not just dangerous basketball. It's basketball that will be almost impossible to scout. Of course, with that much potential comes pressure, unlike anything the Warriors have faced since Durant's arrival. The media would dissect every possession, every stat line, every facial expression between Steph and Luka. Anything short of a conference finals berth wouldn't just be a disappointment. It would be labeled a disaster. Rivals would circle every matchup against Golden State as a litmus test, measuring themselves against this new supercharged backcourt. And every loss, no matter how small or fluky, would fuel the doubters who would say the experiment was a mistake, that the cost was too high. But for a franchise that's built its dynasty on taking risks, this wouldn't be new territory. This is the same team that drafted Steph when his ankles were a medical question mark, that took a leap on Clay when some thought he was just a catch-and-shoot guy, that bet on Draymond's undersized frame to anchor a championship defense. They stunned the league by signing Kevin Durant in 2016, reshaping the NBA's balance of power. And they've never been shy about reshuffling the roster when the window to win is open. In that lineage of bold moves, bringing Luka to pair with Steph would be the most daring, yet not because it's reckless, but because it acknowledges that the dynasty's core still has enough left to chase one more crown, and they're willing to put every chip in the middle to do it. And maybe, just maybe, this is exactly what's needed to hang another banner in San Francisco. The combination of Steph's all-ball brilliance and Luka's on-ball mastery could stretch defenses in ways we've never seen, forcing opponents to play perfect basketball just to survive 4 quarters. It would scare every contender, Nuggets, the Celtics, the Bucks, the Suns, into adjusting their entire game plans months in advance. This isn't just a trade idea. It's the kind of power shift that could redefine what the Warriors are in the post-Durant, late Curry era. Is This bold enough to bring another banner to Chase Center? Personally, as a ride-or-die member of Dub Nation, I believe pairing Steph and Luka will be a gamble worth taking, not because it's the safe play, but because it's the kind of move that makes every other contender wake up in a cold sweat. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, share your thoughts, and subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report so you never miss another explosive update.